So I wanted to make this video, and the title of this video is going to be, you'll see it already, what being a mixed race child, okay, coming from a what's the correct word, bro? A mixed family, is that the right word to put it? But what being a mixed race child and coming from, and my experiences, growing up and coming from the family that I come from. So the reason I want to talk about this is because well, it's important to me. It's important to me, and I've got issues with my family. You know what I'm saying? I've got issues with my family that possibly if they watch this video, they'll understand me more. I don't know. And also, people that don't know me well will understand me more. But yeah, so that's what this video is about. What being a mixed race child like me, what my experience is, and coming from the family that I come from. So being me, I've got the type of parents. So my mother is black, she's African, and my dad is white, European, British. And so my mother's mentality, I'll tell you right now what my mother's mentality is. My mother is that classic African parent where she's like, Africans know what I'm talking about, if you're African, you possibly know what I'm talking about. But I've got that classic African parent, bro, where it's like they act like they're God over their children. You get me? They literally act like they're God over the children, and if the children don't, and they try to dictate their children's lives. That's the type of mother that I have. And so yeah, that's like the type of mother that I have. And then the type of father that I have, he was more of the opposite, where he let me have more freedom, He was like, let me have more freedom, and yeah. And growing up, I tended to favor my father growing up because of this. I favored him. I tended to favor my father because my mother was just that, like, bro, she was just that type of, it's just abusive. Let me put it out there. It's actually just abusive. African children go through this, what I've experienced, and it's actually just abusive. It's not normal. It's not something that should be accepted and acceptable. You get me? Where you got this parent that literally acts like they're God over you, and they dictate your life. That's the type of parent that I have. Right? That's not normal. You get me? That's really not normal. It's not something that should be accepted, and it's actually abusive. It's not all right. It's abusive. You get me? It's abusive. Like, be real. It's abusive. And that's the type of mother that I have. And a lot of times, like white people will think like, oh, like, look, the stereotype a lot of the times is like, oh, why black parents are like very strict, and meanwhile, you know, the white parents, you know, let their children do whatever. It's a stereotype. I think it's a stereotype, right? A lot of people know that stereotype. But it's not always the case, bro. It's not always the case. I know that for sure. It's not always the case. But yeah, you know, growing up, those are the type of parents that I have. And just me growing up, I was not really actually that I didn't fully understand this about like my mother. I didn't fully understand this about her. And I was not really that like, as a kid I acted good, right? To try to get good things. You get me? Because I was like, in my mind I was like, if I'm good, right? If I'm just a good kid, I'll just get things going my way. They'll give me things. You get me? I think a lot of children that you know, do that. But one thing I didn't understand is what my mother was really like and how she was, you know? And one thing as well, I think, is she didn't understand what I was like, where I was not that like, oh, obedient. You get me? I was not that obedient. I was not that obedient. I was not that obedient, and I'm not capable of being that fucking obedient. You get me? Like maybe it's the whiteness in me, bro. You know what I'm saying? Where white children, you know what I'm saying, bro? People know this. Where white children be like, "Fuck you, mom! I'm fucking running. I'm fucking running away from home." Maybe it's the whiteness in me, bro. You know what I'm saying? Whatever. I claim it, bro. I claim it. I'm not running from it. I claim it, bro. I claim that shit. But yeah, you know what I'm saying? Maybe it's the whiteness in me where I couldn't allow that. You know what I'm saying? I couldn't allow that shit, man. I couldn't allow that shit. You know what I'm saying? You know those videos you get, the white child is in their parents' house. The parents have got a bed for them, but it's their parents' house, right? And the white child is like, meanwhile the white child is like, get the fuck out of my room, mom. Come into my room again, and I'm gonna fucking, you get what I'm saying? You know what I'm saying? Maybe it's that whiteness in me, bro. I claim that shit, bro. Honestly, I claim that shit. I claim that shit, bro. I'm not in denial. I'm not in denial. I'm not like that, bro, where I can just be obedient. You know, I'm sorry, I'm not like that. I'm not like that. And you know, one thing that annoys me about this mentality, right, that African parents have, and whichever parent who has this mentality has, one thing that annoys me about it is that they don't allow for much creativity, and they stigmatize things. You get me? That they stigmatize things. They easily stigmatize things, and they don't allow for creativity. They don't allow it. They don't allow it. You know, like, that's one thing that really freaking pisses me off about that mentality, is that parents like that, they don't allow for creativity, man. And they destroy their children's whatever the fuck they want to do. They destroy it. And you know, that's kind of what happened to me, you know. Where they the problem this is the problem with the mentality is when you get a parent like that that is so dominating, and it's like, you listen to me. A child is meant to listen to their parent, and the parent, because the parent has what's best in mind for the child, right? And so you listen to me, and that's how they are. um and then if you don't listen, it's like they stigmatize it, and there's something wrong with you. You get what I'm saying? Is that it doesn't allow for any communication. It literally doesn't allow for any communication. You literally can't communicate with the parent about jack shit, about literally jack shit. You can't communicate with the parent. And bro, it's the worst. I would try to communicate with my mother like back in like 2017, when I was going to university. I was going to university. I was enrolled in university, and I was doing a degree in marketing. And I was also I was working at the same time, and I was working with I was doing multiple things, man. I was playing basketball, coaching basketball. I was also working with a pool tiling. I was doing like labor work. I was working as a pool tiler, working as an assistant for this pool tiler. And it was really hard what I was doing back in 2017. Whilst I was working really hard. I was going to university at the same time. You know, I was coaching basketball. I was trying to, ultimately what I was trying to do, I was trying to become a professional athlete. I was really passionate about becoming a professional athlete. That's ultimately what I wanted to do. And so I was working hard. I was genuinely working hard towards this. It was like my dream. It was my goal. And so I was doing everything right. You know, I was really doing everything right. But one thing that I really needed help with at the time was I needed a car, you know? I really needed a car. I was like, you know, I was struggling. I was trying to pay my rent. I was working hard, and I was making nothing. I was working hard and making nothing. It was feral. Like, it was actually feral. You know, perhaps I think I was being like freaking scammed of wages. Like, the job that I was doing when I was doing my labor work, I was working like 5 days a week, working early in the morning till like 5 p.m., 4 p.m., right? But I was only on a set wage, $400 a week. And it was a job that I was only on that set wage. Meanwhile, I couldn't afford rent, bro. I couldn't actually afford rent. I had to be contacting my dad, being like, "Oh, I need help with rent. You know, I need help with rent. Can't afford rent." And then I was traveling to work, I was taking the train to work, and bro, these train rides were long train rides, bro. They were not short fucking half hour, 15-minute train rides. Like, a lot of the times it was like I travel an hour an hour and a half to get to this job site. And so that one thing that I really needed help with was a car. I was like, you know, and not just for the job, for like for my coaching, when I was doing coaching, and for if I'm playing on a team, you know what I'm saying? If I want to go to when I have a game to go to or training or whatever, I'm like, I need a car. I need help with a car. And it was like they just, my mother's whole mentality was she was not trying to help me become an athlete. She wanted me to just focus on just going to my schooling, doing marketing. And that was the biggest problem. Even if like she just didn't understand how to really support me. And still to this day, she doesn't understand and doesn't really care, you know? She's an absent mother. It's the best way to put it. And she pretends like she's not. She's an absent mother that pretends like she's not really an absent mother, but she is. She is. And she gaslights and lies and pretends like, oh, she really... All she cares about with me is if I go to university, go and do what she wants me to do in the university. That's it. But and she cares. You get me? And that's how she cares. But she doesn't really care about what I want. You get me? But meanwhile, she'll tell people, no, I really give a fuck about my child, blah, blah, blah. She really cares, right? She really, really fucking cares. But if you care, right, you would actually, you know what I'm saying? That's not how caring works. Caring is not where it's all about what you want and not what the person in front of you wants at all. That's not what caring really is. That's not caring at all. You don't give a fuck. And that's what my mother is like. And, you know, during those times, I was like, oh, I need help with a car, you know. I wasn't really against university, but she makes it out like I was against university. I was like, I just need help with a car so that, you know, I can keep things going and things can go smoothly, you know. I wasn't that against university, you know. It was just the problems that I was facing was I was trying to do everything, juggle everything in a really just hard, and it was just too hard how I was trying to juggle things. I had an injury at the time as well for my scholarship. I had an ankle injury where I tore ligaments in my right ankle, and then I got surgery on it, and it still wasn't fully recovered. And keep that in mind, I was working a hard job. I was doing all these things, you know, whilst I had this injury which hadn't even fully recovered. And I was trying to juggle all these things and make all these things happen. And I wasn't making enough money, you know, and I wasn't making enough money to be able to, like, do things sustainably, you know. It wasn't sustainable how I was doing things. That's the main thing. It wasn't sustainable. And that was the main issue and the main complaint that I was putting out there. And I was trying to get help with, you know, to make things sustainable. But apparently, you know, I was just complaining. That's it. I was just complaining. I was working hard. I was proving myself, but still nothing. So the lesson to be learned was, like, you know, don't trust these people that I thought I could trust, you know, like my mother. Don't trust them, because even though I was proving myself, they still didn't reciprocate, they didn't support, they weren't there, they didn't care. Even though I was proving myself, they didn't care. So, it goes to show that, like, my father was really right. My father would say, PK, your mother's an absent mother. She's not there for you. She's an absent mother. It went to show that he was right. She really is an absent mother. She really wasn't there for me. It goes to show, So, that's a bit of a story of my life. If you want to follow me, okay, let me say this. Moving forward, man, I'm trying to put out good content. I'm trying to put out good stuff. I'm leaving those people behind in my life that don't really reciprocate and don't really support even after I prove myself. I've learned that they're a waste of time. Even though I do things that really do, and I do prove myself, they're not going to support. So I've learned to, ignore and leave those people. And moving forward, man, I'm trying to put out some good stuff. If you know me, bro, I love doing a lot of gaming. I love fashion, food. I'm all about culture, man. That's me, bro. Culture. I love culture, and I love bringing and spreading good culture and exploring and finding new culture. That's me. That's me. That's what I'm about. So, man, if you're watching this video, bro, support me. Follow, drop a like, drop some comments. I've got a lot to offer. And, I've got a lot to offer. I've got a lot to show. Yeah, bro. All I can say is, all I can do is put this out there, bro. And, yeah. And hope that, I get some good attention, some good followers. Hope that I don't have bad people with bad intentions trying to follow me. I don't need that, So yeah, man, that's it. That's all I wanted to talk about. That's me. That's the end of the video. Appreciate it.